What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Your Marketing Dude podcast. Folks, we're going to talk about organic today. Not organic any type, but something that I'm actually working on right now. And I'm going to tee this up with something I'm actually really working on right now. So, a couple weeks ago, my team here in San Diego, we're building out a senior transition program. And I built out a whole website. This was the first website I've ever built with AI. I used the Krem Institute. They gave me an AI site, and I wouldn't build it. I built it through text message. The site's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love it. I love everything about it. I don't know if I ever want even a WordPress site going forward, and I'm a WordPress person. But what I also learned during that process was the importance of ranking and getting Google Business Profile reviews. And the reason for that and why I learned, and again, this is going to be like a coaching call today. You guys are in for a treat. But the reason why I had to learn that is because it's an AI site. And if you want to get found on ChatGPT, if you want to get found on Claude, you want to get found on the AI search engines, what they call LMMs, if you guys aren't familiar with that term yet, you have to get your reviews, not on Zillow necessarily, at least from what I hear, but on Google My Business, because what's happening is that trusted verification is what is getting you to pop up in like ChatGPT search and etc. And because the LMMs are so new in general, I think this could be like a gold rush opportunity. The people that start getting in there early on are going to sort of lock in those spots. So imagine like being able to rank on Google back in the day before Google became Google. And how valuable would that be for your business if you could pop up in the first few pages? Well, how valuable would it be in your business if you could pop up in the first few pages for real estate agent, mortgage broker, or whatever your term is? This isn't even a real estate conversation. It's just for all business. And how valuable would that be to pop up in search? That's what we're going to talk about today. So this dude, I think we're going to get along pretty good. We look like we probably hang out on the weekends. But he's the Google guy. He's the Google business profile dude. Like this guy knows exactly what he's doing. And I'm going to treat today as a coaching call because I'm actually doing this right now on my own website. And I'm having my team going out there and getting these Google business reviews. I know I'm supposed to be doing it, but I don't know why exactly. So we're going to find out shortly today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our guest, Mr. Bobby Kerr. Bobby, what's up, man?
What's up, Mike? Happy to be here, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, sorry for the long intro here, but what you're going to show us today is something I'm actually doing right now. This week, I'm ready to launch my funnel, and my goal is to rank for senior transition services in San Diego and all related terms. And I know that a big part of that is Google business profile reviews because they need that trusted source. So I'm going to treat today like literally like I'm hiring you as a coaching call if that's okay with you. But I
Yeah.
think you guys are, because I'm actually in the process of doing this, I think you guys are going to get a lot out of this. And then hopefully, if you guys need Bobby's help at all on this stuff, like he'll give you his information towards the end of this podcast. So Bobby, tell us who you are. What do you do?
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, Mike. So, my name is Bobby Kerr. I'm the founder of Locate My Business, it's specifically a real estate marketing agency. Obviously, your audience has people in a lot of different avenues. So, we're going to talk, real estate. We can talk even the stuff works with legal, it works with any business. So, it's really going to work for anyone. No matter the industry that we're talking about today. So we are truly Google business profile experts, even though we are a marketing agency specifically for real estate folks. We really focus on our flagship program is optimizing Google business profiles organically, not focusing on PPC, pay-per-click ads, not focusing on local service ads. I think the ultimate goal for any of us as business owners and for founders is to get organic leads that we're not having to pay for, right? Like you're the marketing dude. The idea is to do content so that we get organic leads coming in. And there is truly no better way to do that is than having a strong foundation with Google Business Profile. Man, I am so excited to get into it today.
I like it. So let's start here at the beginning. Because this has changed. And is it fair to say that the LMMs, the ChatGPT, because I don't know if everyone knows what LMMs are yet,
Yeah.
but let's just call it the AI search engines. I think everyone universally agrees on that. The AI search engine sort of changed the game. Is that a fair statement? And can you please tell us why and what's going on here and why
Sure.
Google Business? Like I want to put my reviews on Zillow. Why not? I'm a
Yeah.
realtor.
So I keep all those questions coming because we do need to talk about industry specific platforms because they do play into how successful you are as a business owner and being found across traditional organic search as well as AI search tools. So I definitely want to talk about that component since you mentioned Zillow specifically. So why Google Business Profile? I mean, number one, Google Business Profile, which, as you said, used to be called Google My Business. It was a standalone application on everyone's phone. You could manage your business listing. And that went by the wayside in 2022, 2023. And Google said, hey, we've got this one data set platform that's the largest business data set on planet Earth. We've been collecting with Google vehicles, collecting images and video of every square inch of planet Earth over the last 10 years. Why don't we make Google Maps the program that powers Google Business Profile? And that's what they did. So for the folks that are listening and they're like, man, I haven't even touched my business profile in years. I don't even know how to get to it. The only way to do it mobilely now on a mobile device is through Google Maps. So number one, log into your Google Maps account with your Gmail account that manages your business profile. And that's how you can do all of this from your mobile device. So why Google Business Profile? Again, Mike, it is the largest business data set on planet Earth is Google, right? So they give us this tool to manage and promote our business for free on the world's biggest platform. It has basically gone from a place over the last 10, 15 years to collect reviews, to house a business's phone number, website, reviews, a couple of photos, and address. That's really what it was made for over the last 10, 15 years. What's happening today is the business profile, most of the time, to be perfectly honest, is the consumer's first step in the journey. Okay. So they're going to go search something on Google, or they're going to search something on ChatGPT or Gemini. A lot of times, all of those search engines, those tools are going to give the business profile or links to the reviews before they give links to the websites. And so for businesses that focus on, and I know you mentioned that you're just building this website, we do websites too, but honestly, the roles have reversed in the last several years. The website comes second or third, and the Google Business Profile is the first step in the consumer's journey. So right away, for everyone listening, if you're a business owner, if you do not have an extremely strong foundation with Google Business Profile as an organic listing, we're not talking about ads, we're not talking about AdWords, PPC, LSA, local service ads. We're talking organic, foundationally Google Business Profile. If you're not strong there, you're going to be a ghost everywhere else. Right? Number one, you're going to be a ghost on traditional Google search because Google doesn't trust you. Right away, you're never going to be mentioned in AI overviews, which is now overtaking traditional search, right? What
Yeah.
Google is promoting in the search results up on top is those AI overviews where they recommend one, two, or three businesses, right? They try to get in and basically hijack the search. And then LLMs, as you're mentioning, those large language models and these AI search tools, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Perplexity, et cetera, they don't trust you unless you've got a strong foundation on Google. So right away, I cannot stress this enough. If you do not have a strong organic presence on Google Business Profile specifically, and we'll talk about the components of it that make it strong,
Yeah,
then
that's
you're
my next
going to be
question.
a ghost over the next 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years.
So that was actually my next question is, okay, well, what makes a good, strong Google business profile? And this is not just local business. This is all businesses. Like I don't, as your marketing dude, I don't think I even have a Google business profile.
Yeah, you should, right? I
Yeah, I
mean,
probably should. I'll probably create one right after this podcast.
we'll have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
So everyone should have a Google Business Profile, whether you're, an individual real estate agent, a law firm, and I know there's certain, marketing laws with when it comes to legal that you've got to be aware of. You're the expert in that field. But no matter the business, no matter the industry, you should be having a strong leverage Google Business Profile. So what
Yep.
makes a Google Business Profile strong? And for now on, if I just say GBP, we can abbreviate it so that when
Yep.
everyone knows it's Google Business Profile, because that's a mouthful to say 1,000
Yep.
times on a podcast. So you mentioned reviews at the very start. Let's just talk about reviews. And this is the biggest misconception for all business owners, that they think all 5-star reviews are created equal. And a lot of this is an ego play, right? As a business owner, you see a 5-star review come through and automatically you get that hit of dopamine and you think, man, I am badass. I got
Yeah.
a new 5-star review, right? And
Yep.
let's go a little bit further.
Especially illegal.
Yeah, no doubt, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like lawyers obviously get a bad name. So if you get a good review, that's a great thing. But let's take a step further. Okay. If you have 100 reviews on your Google profile and they're all from the past several years, okay, you think on an ego trip that your business is kicking ass, that you've got 100 past clients telling the rest of the world publicly that your business is awesome. Okay. I don't care the content that's inside the reviews or anything. Let's just say you've got 100 5-star reviews, but they all came in 2025 and before. And you took your foot off the gas in 2026 because you think you're good because you got more reviews total on your business profile than all of your competitors in your local service area. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what happens a lot in real estate, and I'm assuming it happens a lot in the legal space as well. People take their foot off the gas because they think they reached a milestone. I got 100 reviews, I got 200 reviews, 1,000 reviews, whatever it is. Here's the thing: Google and now the LLMs, they have a massive recency bias. What have you done for me lately? So if Google
Hmm.
is giving us access on the world's largest platform to promote our business for free with lots of different tools within the business profile, posts, offers, events, products, reviews, services. These are all component photos and videos. They give us these tools to promote our business for free every single day on the world's biggest platform. But what have you done for me lately? That's the way they look at our businesses. So they basically have everyone on a 30 or 45-day rolling clock. If you have not had key trust factors and signals updating on your business profile every 30 days, they basically look at you and they reset the clock and they say, yeah, this business, to be honest, Mike, your business hasn't got any new reviews in the last 30 days. You haven't added any new photos, no new videos, no custom services, no posts. We think your business is dying or dead. We don't give a rip about your 100 reviews that you got in years past. What has happened in the last 30 days? So that recency bias is extremely real, and I cannot stress it enough. The magic number, just for everyone listening, the magic number is 3 to 5 reviews minimum per month. If you are not getting 3 to 5 keyword rich reviews on your Google profile, they think your business is dying. Now, the cool part is, right, let's just say you're a real estate agent and you've got a database deep of 1,000 people that you've worked with over the last 20 years, and you haven't focused much on reviews publicly in the last several years, and maybe you've had them all housed on Zillow or realtor.com or Trustpilot or whatever it is, but you're now focusing on Google Business Profile because it's the most important. You can go back to that past database, no matter your industry, no matter your field, and if you go back to that past database and they start leaving reviews for you today, in Google's eyes, that's a brand new customer.
Yeah.
They don't care if you worked with them 20 years ago. They don't care if you worked with them 5 years ago. If they leave a review for you today, that's a brand new customer in Google's eyes. And they say, hey, wake up the machine. Look at Mike's business over here. Look at your marketing dude podcast. Okay. They've got a bunch of reviews. Something's going on with this guy. We like it. What have you done for me lately? Okay. So before I jump into the other stuff of reviews, do you have any specific questions or need to talk through anything when it comes to that recency bias or
No, the
the
my only thought on it is like I had someone else on the podcast. We're just talking about like LMM search in general, and it matches up with like what you're saying because it's like anybody has a fair shot. It was like traditionally like the big corporations that have the big dollars and the money don't allow the small guy to compete against them. But my guess is it's the bigger corporations that are slacking and taking their foot off the gas, which gives the opportunity for the small guy to come in there and clean their clock.
absolutely.
Which is like very similar to like IG's algorithm works today, right? It's like you have the opportunity for one person just to go out there and potentially share their content with the world just through if they get it right. And it sort of seems like that's the theme here.
Yeah, and the theme that I definitely want to cover. There's a lot we want to cover today, but specifically, and we'll stick with the reviews, but in general, and I assume you have this going on with all of your other video content. What wins, especially with those LLMs and agentic search, is they want to see what makes you, and this is big time for Google, they want to see what makes you a local community expert. Okay. And specifically for Google, I'll talk about that. All right. Your Google business profile, what did I say powers GBP? Is Google Maps. So this is a hyper local geography game. And so for most of the clients that you have within real estate or the legal field, okay, or if you're a local bar or restaurant or shoe store, it doesn't matter. Unless you're like a national brand like you or like Locate, you're focusing on hyper local activity. So with all of the things that you're posting on Google Business Profile, with every single post, every single video, every review, they've got to have hyper local geographic anchors. Okay. So specifically speaking about reviews, I'm gonna read you like just a sample review. Like so most real estate agents, they get a 5-star review. Again, it's a dopamine rush. They think they're great because somebody said, highly recommend Mike Cuevas as my real estate agent, 5 stars. Okay. You think that's a great review. Mike does, the real estate agent.
Yeah.
Google sees that review and they say, That's pretty generic. Maybe that was spam. Maybe Mike purchased that review illegally, unethically. There's really nothing about this review that tells us why Mike is a community expert and why we should continue promoting his business in search results. Now, take on top of that, if you're not getting 3 to 5 of those, you're definitely screwed. So
Mm.
that's kind of a sample review of what most agents do when they don't have their systems dialed in when it comes time to closing, right? They just say, "Hey, they shoot a text off a week later or a month later. Hey, can you review our transaction?" And then first of all, it's way too late. Like you got to get them when they're the happiest at the
Yeah.
closing table or clear to close, right?
Yeah.
So what makes a review great? Because not all 5-star reviews. I basically have what we call the holy grail of a Google 5-star review. Okay. There's 5 things that got to go into every review, and everyone needs to write these down. And we can share these too. And we help write templates for anybody that we work with. But the holy grail 5 elements of a powerful review. Number one, they've got to mention you by name. They've got to say, and what makes it even
Full
better
name?
is if they mention the name in the review that matches the Google business profile listing. Okay. So for me, locate my business, real estate marketing agency, or at a minimum, locate my business. If people leave a review and they just say, I worked with Bobby and he was awesome, Google sees that as a disconnect, right? So we want
Mm.
it to match as closely to the business name that's on the GBP. Number two, they've got to leave 5 stars, right? You get 3 or 4 stars, you're already toast. You're behind the 8 ball. Number three, they've got this is the most important thing that's going on these days. They've got to mention geographical anchors inside of the review. And they've got to say the city, the state, and what makes it even more powerful, and I know this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but what makes it even more powerful is that they mention the city, the state, and the neighborhood or street name. So specifically for real estate folks, that's a big deal because that's easy. You're doing a specific transaction at a location, at a house, in a subdivision. All right. So 5-star reviews mention you by name, geographical anchors, city, state, neighborhood, or street name. Number four, no matter the industry, the reviewer needs to leave some hot keywords that talk about the problems that you help them solve. Okay. So for legal team, right away, you can just mention the specific parts of whatever was happening. And I'm sure there's laws of what they can say or what not say. But in real estate, it's pretty simple. Like you could say something like, Mike, my agent, sold my house in Kansas City, Missouri, and he sold it in only 5 days and over asking price. We closed in less than 30 days, and he was so communicative. The process was simple. He handled the negotiations like a champ. Okay. That's mentioning the problems that you helped solve, right? So no matter
Mm.
the industry, that's what you want people to say. And lastly, number five on Google in particular, you can add a photograph to reviews. That's like the last trust signal that Google says, yep, that's a real life human leaving a real review of this real business, where they say they do business, who it is, and why they're a local community expert. So that's the holy grail. And that is so important that a lot of people miss, whether it's they're lazy or they just don't dial in their systems with their review campaigns, or they feel like they're being pushy. But this isn't really telling people what to say. This is putting up guardrails to say, you know what? Hey, can you help me out? Can you take 2 minutes and leave a 5-star review? Here's the 5 components that make a review great. Can you do it for us, please?
Good.
Good
How do you
stuff, right?
how do you so we have a transaction management platform called Suite Assist. And inside of there, we're implementing done for you TC services. And part of the done for you TC services is to enhance the client experience. And one of the final steps that the TC does, and we have like a template built out where the agent will actually ask for a client review. And I've been harping on, be like, oh, where are we gonna get your reviews? If the agent supplies us with a Zillow link, then we'll give them the Zillow link. But if they give us the Google Business Profile link, then we'll give them that. The challenge we found was how do you coach or teach someone to give you such an optimized review?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. You have to literally state it. So like what we do in our templates that we provide to agents is here's what a review request should sound like.
Sure.
Let's just put it that way. Like here's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
template. Okay. Hey, Mike, it's Bobby. I loved work partnering with you at 123 Main Street. We had a great time serving you, whatever. Um, if you could, can you help me? That marketing psychology
That's
of
good. That's
saying,
actually the
can you
subject line too, if you're doing an email.
absolutely,
Yeah,
can you help me in all caps?
that's
So
good.
that's what we found as a marketing guru like you, right? Like that's the psychology of all of this because you've done nothing but answer midnight text messages for 30, 40, 60 days helping people during this transaction, whether it's an attorney or a real estate agent, right? You are doing nothing but bending over backwards to help these people for weeks or months on end. So when you in turn for the very first time say, "Can you help us?" or "Can you help me?" right away it triggers in that person, "Yep, whatever it is they're asking for, I'm going to try to help."
Well, unless you guys were nincompoops, you did a terrible job and like didn't answer their calls or return them. Come on, guys.
Right. Yeah. And if that's you,
This
don't
is
even ask for the review.
this is well, this is why like we harp so much even on different episodes and on transactional like customer service is because you're leading up and the goal on the transaction, not to go off track here, but just to land the plane here, the goal on the transaction is not to sell the house. That's the third goal. The first goal is to please the seller with customer service and steps. The second goal is spin off business, leverage the house or the buyer for referrals or the neighbor next door wants to list. Then you want to sell the house. And if you play your cards right and you follow that process, at least in your own mind and through the experience of the client, they're more likely to do this endpoint, which is the review, because at the end of the day, we're just going for referrals.
Yeah, totally. And to even take it a step back further, Mike, I have always found the real estate teams that I helped run over the years, because I before I'm a marketing guy and an owner of a marketing agency, I'm a real estate operator. Started and founded and scaled and sold large home inspection company, mortgage brokerage, property and casualty insurance brokerage, large Remax team, now large EXP team. So like I'm an operator before I'm a marketer.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really important, I think, for people to understand is what we're talking about here are not theories of what we think as a marketing team works. Like this is the stuff that moves the needle.
Yeah.
So to take what you said and piggyback off of it, what we always taught our agents and what always worked is when you start the transaction, you set the tone by saying, "I want this to be a 5-star
Yeah.
experience for you." Not transaction. Like we want to avoid the words that feel transactional, but I want this to be such a 5-star experience for you that at the end, you want to bend over backwards to sing our praises across Google, Zillow, Yelp, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Right. So then at the very end, when you do make the request, it's, "Oh yeah, man, Mike created such an experience and he told me how it was going to go and it was going to be
Yeah.
strong. Now I'm willing to do it." Right. So when you say, "Can you help me?" it triggers
Yeah. It's
back to
good.
the right.
I like that.
So whenever you do this request template, it's basically, "Hey, Mike, it's Bobby. I loved working with you at 123 Main Street. You were one of the best clients we ever had. Can you help us? We're on a mission to get to X number of reviews," right? If you're at 250 reviews, say we're on a mission to get to 300. If you're at 5, I'm on a mission to get to 10. Whatever it is, you want to kind of give a little bit of a lofty goal. "Can you help us run a mission to get to X number of reviews?" You can say then it takes 2 minutes to do it. Here's what's helpful for other people finding our services so that we can serve them. Please mention us by name and type it in. Like, please mention, locate my business, right? Don't just say mention me. Because if you've got a team name and
Yeah.
they mention an agent on your team, there's a disconnect. So you need to spell out, please mention the name of the business, type it out. Please mention the city, the state, and the neighborhood or street name that you bought or sold in. Okay. And I know it's going to be different for legal, but I'll let you kind of massage that. Please mention some hot keywords that talked about the problems that we helped solve in the transaction. And you know that, right? So, like in a review template campaign, obviously, if you're not looking to customize this, I mean, you can bring in tags and stuff, right? But you can just say, please mention hot keywords that signify our excellence, right? Local
Hmm.
pro, top rated, some type of keywords where it's going to get the point across to the agent or to the client, excuse me. And then if you could, please add a photo to your review. It can be of your house. It can be of your dog. It can be of us at the closing table. It really helps our online visibility when you leave a review with these components. If you have any questions, let me know. And obviously doing a short version in text is massively important. An email campaign that goes out as the marketing guru, right? Like email campaign's important, but text messages got to do this. And perfect. And I used to teach this whenever I was coaching real estate teams, but like I called it hit them hard and hit them fast. This is not a one-time request. You can't just ask once and expect people to leave a review. Some people will, but if the average response rate on leaving a review is like 10%, so if you ask 10 people to leave a review and one person or two people on average will do it for you, imagine if you just send an email request. That number goes down even more. So
Yeah.
it needs to be email and text. And I always used to say it needs to be like a six banger. Like email, then follow up with a text. 2 or 3 days later, another email and another text. And 3 or 4 days later, another text or another automated phone call or a social outreach or another email. So 5 or 6 requests is what we have found moves the needle traditionally. And I'll say, for the people that say, Bobby, Mike, like there's no way in hell I'm going to ask a client for a review 5 or 6 times. And that's fine. But to those people, I say, well, you must not have very many Google reviews because
Yeah.
that's what it takes. Think about it. The science of reviews, people are very, very quick to leave negative reviews. Think about when you go to a restaurant, you get a hair in your food, there's a cockroach on the floor. You first thing you think to yourself is, I'm going to leave this place a nasty gram. How many times you leave a restaurant and say to yourself, man, that server was great. The first thing I'm going to do is go leave a Google review and mention that server by name. It
Never.
doesn't happen very often,
Yeah.
right? So it's the same thing within real estate or legal or any type of business. We've got to be proactive in how we ask for reviews, the frequency at which we ask for them, and just be fired up about it because no one's going to advocate for your business like you are.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah. So with reviews, that's kind of what moves the needle, and it's got to be 3 to 5. You've got to have freshness on your profile. Google will suppress your platform and suppress your profile if they don't see constant reviews coming in at least with 3 to 5, and they've all got to be keyword rich.
Yep. I like it.
Um,
Good
yeah.
stuff.
So specifically, since we're talking so much about LLMs, I think it's important to understand that yes, Google Business Profile is king. Okay. But there obviously are other platforms that are important. And this is one of those big misconceptions as important as Google Business Profile is, you've got to be other places. Because what Google calls, like those reviews that we just mentioned, those are literally what Google calls trust signals. So every review you get is a trust signal sending to Google that you're a trustworthy business, that it's EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. That's the playbook. EEAT. So every review you get that has all this stuff, you're showing them that you've got experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. Okay. All these other LLMs, they're scouring the internet to try to decide who is worthy and trustworthy enough to recommend in these first 1 or 2 recommendations, right?
Yep.
So how do we get found on these other search platforms, not just traditional Google search? I will say traditional Google search or Google Business Profile feeds all of these LLMs to a certain degree. Okay, so I'll just cat out of the bag right away. ChatGPT does not pull directly from Google Business Profile. However, for those of us that are the old heads in the room and remember the search engine Bing, okay, like we've known Bing for years, right? It's been around now for 10, 15 years. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever used it as a search engine.
No.
And I think most people haven't, especially if you adopted Google or DuckDuckGo or anything like that. Firefox over 20 years ago. However, Microsoft's partnership, their $13 billion partnership with OpenAI, has created a direct access avenue for ChatGPT visibility. So when I say Bing, I mean specifically Microsoft's version of Google Business Profile, which is Bing Places. So most people don't understand that Microsoft has its own Google Business Profile version called Bing Places. Now, here's the cool part. When I say that in a roundabout way, your Google Business Profile feeds ChatGPT, even though it's not directly, here's the cool part. Microsoft knows it's never going to compete with Google for business listings. So what's the first thing you do once you've got your Google Business Profile kicking ass and it's highly optimized? You've got killer reviews. You've got a built out post section. You've got a ton of photos and videos. You've got services. You've got all this built out. You go to bingplaces.com and you click sync with my Google Business Profile, and it will create a Bing Places profile for you that pulls directly from your Google Business Profile and mirrors it. And so now you've got a killer profile on Bing Places, and you didn't have to do a thing. Now it's a little bit different. You don't get reviews on Bing. You don't add new posts like you do on Google Business Profile, but all of the other trust signals that you have on your profile, showing reviews, showing activity, showing photos and videos, it syncs right over. So for those in the
Very
room
cool.
that you need to understand, don't just go straight to bingplaces.com though. Like you can't do that until your Google profile is top notch.
Yeah.
So make sure it's optimized, and we could talk about more of what makes an optimized profile so that people just don't go creating willy-nilly. Because here's the other thing, Mike, and I think you know this too. There's this massive important ranking factor when it comes to online visibility. And when I say trustworthiness, right? Trust signals, if your business name, they call it the NAP, name, address, phone. I always say plus website now, name, address, phone, NAP plus website. If your name or your address or your phone or your website on Google is this, but then on Zillow.com, you're like, as an example, right? Let's just say Mike Cuevas Realtor is your Google business profile name. But on Zillow, it's Mike Cuevas Remax. And on homes.com, it's
Yep.
Mike C EXP because you changed brokerages. And on Redfin, it's Mike Cuevas. Okay. Four different business names across four important citations or platforms. Google and the LLMs will look at your business and say, are those four different businesses? Are they the same person? You know what? We can't make up our mind. So therefore, we're not going to promote any of them. So the NAP consistency is so very important. It's like the very first thing. So it all starts with the Google Business Profile. It's the most authoritative citation out there. So that's why I always stress building it first, optimizing it first, and then making sure your name, your address, your phone, your website, your business description carries in tow across all these other platforms. And so you say, is Zillow reviews important? Do we need reviews on those other platforms? Are they as important as Google? And I know we're talking about a lot here, but yes, those platforms are also important for reviews. Nothing's ever going to top Google, but when you have reviews across Zillow and realtor.com and homes.com and Yelp and Bing Places and your Google profile and your Facebook business page, all of a sudden, to all those LLMs, they're looking at the consistency piece, right? They know who you are, they know where you do business, they know why you're a community expert, and then they also see reviews across these other platforms. Now they've got something to go off of to say, yep, we're starting to trust this business more.
Yeah.
Therefore, we're more likely to recommend them in search results.
How do you get that was always a challenge. I think it's a challenge for a lot of people is like how do you get like how do you get people to review you on multiple platforms like that? Because I usually will
Yeah.
fill out like I know me personally, like I'll fill out one. I'll be like, dude, I'm not filling out four of these things for you, dude. Like I'll do my job. All right. I honor
Yeah.
you. Like great. But like how do you get people to freaking do more, you know?
I think honestly, for us that are working with service-based businesses, right? With real estate, I'll just again speak specifically to real estate folks. You have such an advantage that you have worked so closely with your client over such a long period of time that when you then go back to them, it goes back to what we said, the psychology of it. Can you help me? Like straight up ask them. And that's what
Mhm.
we do when we ask for a review from our clients. We send review links to 4 or 5 different platforms. And some platforms, Mike, I don't know if yours does this with the TC program that you're setting up, but a lot of platforms, you can set a setting where it will shuffle which review platform is listed first in your request. So, like for us, we use Go High Level as our CRM. It's, I love it. I can actually
I was just
click
going
a
to ask you if you're using the review app on that. That's what I
hell
use
yeah.
as well.
Absolutely. There's a little button that you can say, basically promote this review platform this time. So if Google's
Yeah.
the main one, you can say, okay, I want Yelp reviews now, or I want Better Business Bureau. By the way, Better Business Bureau, every business owner needs to have a business listing because it's such a valued citation with Google and these other LLMs that if you don't have, and you don't have to do the paid accredited, A plus rating, but you can just have a free Better Business Bureau listing. And it is a massive, massive citation of importance and relevance.
Yep.
So definitely sign up there. But whenever you're sending review links, you kind of you need to press the issue again. You've got to be kind of pushy. Can you leave 2 or 3? Can you leave more than one? At a minimum, can you leave one review on this platform? So it's just a matter of which ones do you prioritize. But man, also Yelp. I don't know about the legal field, but for real estate agents, like you have to have a Yelp account. Yelp is directly feeding ChatGPT as well.
Yep.
So ChatGPT is Yelp, it's Bing Places, it's Reddit, it's LinkedIn. If you're not there, and then of course they go back and they verify with Google Business Profile. So they're not pulling directly from GBP, but they're verifying that you're on the world's most trusted, largest platform, which is Google. So
Yeah.
you can kind of see the full suite of how everything works here. You've got local authority with GBP, with Bing Places, with Apple Maps, with Yelp. There's your local authority. You've got social and content authority, which is your space, right? Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You have to be on YouTube, of course. You've got real estate authority for those that are listening in real estate. You have to have Zillow, realtor.com, homes.com, Redfin. Here's two right here that we teach explicitly because we started seeing them pop up in every citation resource on ChatGPT searches is HomeLight and Fast Expert.
Really?
If you don't have free profiles on those platforms, you're automatically missing out on a lot of ChatGPT references. HomeLight and Fast Expert for real estate folks.
I ain't even
And then
heard
of
of
course
Fast
you
Expert.
oh my God, dude, it's very important. So owned assets, of course, then we can talk about your website, right?
Yeah.
Local news, PR, blog content, podcasts like this. So there really is like, how do I show up in LLM search results? Right? It starts with the Google Business Profile for the foundational piece, but then you've got to have industry specific authority as well.
Yeah.
For real estate, we're talking about those folks.
Talk to me a little bit about the other stuff on
The
the
business?
Google Business Profile. Yeah, like not like the posts and
Yeah,
content you're creating and how to do all that because I think that's something that a lot of people don't know too much about.
they don't. Most
So,
people don't know that it's like a social media platform,
yeah.
really, right? On the
Yeah.
world's biggest platform. So Danny Sullivan, he's the director of Google Search. Back in April or May, he did like a TED Talk, essentially, an internal TED Talk for Google employees. And he put a slide up. This is real, and he even gave real estate agent as an example, which is really cool for people like us. So what Google wants to see and what they're suppressing, okay, two different things: commoditized content versus non-commoditized content. What I mean by that is, can I find this content on every other realtor's Google profile or something similar, or is this original? And I think you would probably echo the same sentiments in social,
Yeah.
right? If you're posting a video template that was provided to you by a third-party connector service and they're just posting for you and you think your profile is doing well because it has a new post, but it's just slop.
Yeah.
Google, all the socials, they're going to suppress your content because it's commoditized. So what's winning is local, hyper local, custom to you that can't be found anywhere else content. So on the posts, for instance, okay? And man, we've seen thousands of realtors do this. Not to throw any other company under the bus, but I'm going to mention a few, okay? Like when you have parties like, or companies like Keeping Current Matters or Real Grader or places like that that charge you 99 bucks a month and they connect to your Google profile or your Facebook, your LinkedIn or your Instagram and they post for you. When they post that graphic that says
Yeah. Those things terrible.
7 spring cleaning tips for keeping your home maintenance up to tabs, right?
Yeah.
And then it lists clean your gutters, make sure the foundation's sloping away from the property, or make
It's
sure the
like
dirt's
common
found.
sense. Like just
When
crap
you post
content.
that shit, it's
Yeah.
commoditized, and they recognize that your profile is a mirror of 10,000 other profiles. So, by real estate agents in particular thinking that you're doing an easy button, by having someone post for you that's nothing hyper local and there's nothing custom to you, your market, your niche audiences, then Google right away says, nope, not worthy. Not going to show this profile in search results. And then when they stop showing you, then the other LLMs don't trust you either, right? So as an example, right? So a post, I'll just pull one up here as I'm on my computer. What a lot of people will do is they'll post something like, this is a real example of an agent we're working with right now. She's connected to one of those third parties, and it's a graphic, and it says real estate word of the day, listing agent. And then it gives the definition of a listing agent, right? It says a
Yeah.
listing agent, also known as a seller's agent, is a real estate professional who helps clients sell their property by listing it on the market. Like, holy
Yeah.
cow. Is it helpful? Is it custom? Is it local? No, like no one gives a shit about that post. However, the flip side, the non-commoditized version of that is question and answer format. How do we hijack the LLMs to try to answer proactively what people are really searching for? It's doing question and answer format. So literally typing in your post the word question colon And as an example, how much should I budget for closing costs when buying a home in Naples, Florida? Double space, type in the word answer, colon, and then answer the question with something hyper local and customized to you and your market. So that particular question would be Southwest Florida lifestyle living and Brenton Maybach, a real estate agent, right? Advises Naples home buyers to budget 3 to 5% of the purchase price for total closing costs. Brenton breaks this down: loan origination fees, title insurance, home inspection, appraisal and attorney fees, or title fees. Naples properties over $1 million may have higher title insurance costs than other markets. Right away, Google sees that and knows that it's hyper local, it's custom to that realtor. They're talking about specific audiences. So that's the type of stuff that's moving the needle in 2026. If you are posting generic slop, you're
And
just
that
screwing
I
yourself.
noticed that he had the name reference and the locale reference, just like in the review. So like the
Same thing.
same criteria for even the posts. How about
Absolutely.
like blog content and YouTube content and all that? Where do you make that connection at?
Well, right away, the cool part now, there's a lot of great stuff happening. Dude, by the way, like nothing changed in this stuff for like 10 years. And
Yeah,
then in the last 12 months, like I've never had to be on my toes so much. Now, the cool thing is the foundational pieces are the same. Like
yeah.
it's SEO
It's
and
SEO on like
AEO.
it's like review SEO. Like
It is.
it's
It's
interesting.
SEO principles have not changed. Like we're
Yeah.
really just like SEO on steroids. So if you were doing the hyper local stuff, it's still working.
Yep.
Man, what was the question? I'm so sorry. I got sidetracked.
YouTube blog content for
Oh yeah,
people that
yeah,
are blogging, and then if you have a YouTube channel, can you connect it into your Google Business profile, or how do
yeah.
the because Google, YouTube, same,
Correct.
how do they all know each other? I guess is the question.
So two ways. Number one, on your Google profile, in the very first button it gives you in your ownership dashboard, there's a little button that says edit profile. That's
Hmm.
like the generic stuff: your business name, your phone number, your address, your website, your hours. Okay. Down at the very last thing they ask you are you can connect social profiles. So if you're not doing that, you're missing out an opportunity for Google to tie into your social profiles. And also, when a human being comes across your profile on Google Maps or on traditional desktop search, then they can look and verify you on those platforms. That's connection number one. Connection number two is in the Google Search Console and Google Analytics, like the
Hmm.
backend. If you own a website, you can now, as of last week, this is brand new. You can connect your
It's changing
actual
that fast, huh?
Seriously, you can add your social profiles now to your Google Analytics account and you can monitor the views, the impressions, the activity of your actual social profiles on those other unrelated, Alphabet does not own them, Google does not own them, but they are showing how those other platforms are performing on Google search. So it's pretty cool. So that's kind of how they all connect. I would say, and I'm not a YouTube expert, but the content things are all the same. You want really, really good, strong keywords. Blogs and YouTube, it's kind of the same thing where LLMs are pulling basically, if you've got a 3,000 word blog post, like a diatribe, right, that
Yeah.
belongs in the King James Bible, okay?
Yeah.
LLMs are not reading that.
Interesting.
They're reading the first three sentences. So you've got to have the hook. You've got to have the hyper local content. If you want to start getting cited and sourced, all the content has got to be straight to the point, which is why we love the question and answer format and posts because that's what actually people are searching for. They're literally typing in these questions like, how much should I budget for closing costs in Naples, Florida? That's a real thing people are searching for, right?
Yep.
That's what your YouTube video. So if that's your post on Google Business Profile, you should absolutely be doing a YouTube video with the same thing. You should do an Instagram reel with the same. That should be the hook. The first thing, camera turns on. How much should closing costs be, for a home in Naples, Florida in 2026? Get right into it. Do a video short. Now you've got the same post on your Google profile. Do the same thing across all of your platforms. That's what's winning. So like, are they truly interconnected? Like, does your YouTube views impact your Google business profile ranking? Not necessarily, but in the age of the agentic search and LLMs recommending our business, they're all connected because those are all trust signals showing the rest of the world, not only human beings, but man, our target audience is no longer humans. Our target audience is AI's eyeballs
Yeah.
because those are the ones making the recommendation, whether it's in traditional search or whether
Yep.
it's an LLM search that's going like, here's your two recommendations. Most people are like, they get the two recommendations. There's an actual stat on this that when people, um, and I might have it right here, when people are finding a traditional, they get an LLM search result. Like, who's the best real estate agent in Cape Coral, Florida, or San Diego, California? What's happening is 53% of those people, when they get that recommendation on ChatGPT or Gemini, they go straight to Google search and they type it in just to verify.
Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
getting found on AI search, congratulations, it's only half the battle.
Yeah.
You've then got to be found on Google because their people are verifying those search results on the world's most trusted platform, which is Google.
I see a lot of that with like our video content, like because we'll run content on social mainly, regardless if it's for lawyers or legal or real estate, and then they'll see them there, right? But they go to Google and then they verify them, and which sucks. You don't always get attribution for as a marketer on that,
Right.
but they get found on social, and then you're right. A lot of times, especially on social, they'll go verify that person to see how legit they are.
Yep.
And like even my own ads, all my ads running, and I'll look at attribution on Facebook, but all the appointments are like where are these coming from? You can't track it literally.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, but you know you got 20,000 views last month. So you guys put two and two together, and that's part of like the brand and the attraction model, guys, is that you can't always there's not a like if I was doing PPC, I could go PPC. I got one lead that
Right.
created that one client. I could scale based off of math right there. But a lot of this stuff seems to be very similar because you're not going to know what profile they originally clicked on, then they started
Mhm.
stalking you, et cetera, et cetera. But everything's got to sort of be pointing in the right direction. Otherwise, you're sort of, like this stuff is this is really good, dude. Very good. I'm really impressed. You gave me a lot to think about here on this
There's a
stuff.
lot to it. And I
Yeah.
think I know this is usually like the time limit on your shows, but what's important for I think the really important thing for people to take home is in January 2024, 2.5 years ago, AI search was less than 1% of all internet search traffic.
Yep.
Less than 1% 2.5 years ago. By the summer of 2024, 2 years ago today, it had risen to 2.5%. So 1.5% jump in 6 months. Okay. As of June 2026, we're almost at 20% of all internet search traffic is driving through LLMs, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Perplexity,
I don't use
Claude,
anything
Grok.
else
Okay.
personally. Like
Yeah.
I don't.
Most, and exactly. That's a 1,054% increase in 2 years.
Yep.
So for people to hear this and to say, I'm referral based, I don't need to be found online. Here's the thing. If Mike recommends Bobby to Steve, Steve doesn't know Bobby. So the first thing that Steve's going to do is just verify that Mike's recommendation is cool and he's going to Google Bobby.
Always.
So if you don't do this stuff, okay, number one, you're going to be invisible to future people who are using LLMs, which, okay, in the industry, we thought we'd reach 15, 20% 24 months from now in 2028.
Hmm.
And we're there now. So this is rapid. Like the projections are hyper scaling. This is a tsunami wave. So if you are not getting found on Google or AI search tools, it's not too late, but you've got to do the foundational stuff. You've got to get reviews. You've got to get reviews across multiple platforms. Focus on Google first, build up your organic Google presence. And also, like I know you mentioned PPC and stuff like that. It's still important. Okay. We're talking everything today is about organic growth. PPC, LSA, all the AdWords stuff, meta ads, those are great for short-term wins.
Yeah.
But the second you turn that faucet off and you
Yep.
stop paying that bill for those ads, if you have not optimized your organic presence, you're then a ghost. So it's really important that if you are running ads to do both because people think, oh, I run local service ads with Google or I do PPC and then they don't even touch their organic listing. They are not one and the same. So it's really important for people to understand if you are ad focused, you've got to also build the organic piece because if you ever do turn off the ads, Google doesn't care that you've spent $50,000 over the last 24 months. They're not going to promote your organic listing because it's not built the way that they promote businesses organically. So this is all very, very important for no matter the industry, but especially for the people that are, most common on this audience.
I've had I'll end with this. Yeah, I could verify that all because in particular I have one client, he's a criminal defense attorney in Nashville, and probably about 6 to 8 months ago, he was doing really good on Google. He does a lot of PPC LSAs, but his organic just dropped off a cliff. Literally like 8 months ago, and he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And the only thing he can attribute to is that he's just his organic search for whatever reason on Google just dropped, or are more people going to chat? That's what he
Yeah,
doesn't understand. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
so like
tough.
you don't know, and he's trying to figure it out. I might put you guys in touch because he might, I think he might need your help with some stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, this is really good, very eye-opening. Folks, here's what I want you guys to get. Do you have anything else you want to mention here, Bobby?
No, I think just the big thing, obviously, build your organic presence. The business profile, and we can do another show sometime, right? Talk about actual the other components of the profile. There's a services section, there's a product section, an offer section, obviously reviews, adding photos and video is so important. Like adding one thing really quick here, Mike, I think this is important. Remember geotagging?
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty much been debunked. Like adding latitudinal, longitudinal coordinates to the back end of photos and scrubbing the EXIF data, like it doesn't really move the needle much anymore. But back to the very beginning, what powers Google Business Profile? Google Maps. What have they spent the last 10 years doing? Taking video and photo of every square inch of planet Earth. So when Mike and his team go out around town where they're a hyper local, community expert on their business profile, and they take photos of themselves in their branded gear in front of intersecting street signs or in front of the local landmarks in their town, the sports stadium, the park signs, the local business signs, the school signs. When you do that, that's the modern day geotag. Google knows where you are. And then they reference that with your address and your name on your business profile. And they see that, hey, this person is actually doing business in the community where they say they do business on their business profile. There's another massive trust signal. So, photos and videos, I don't want people to ignore. When you add them consistently, at least one or two photos and videos a week to your business profile, that is a massive ranking factor with Google.
Good, I like it. Um, guys, to me, Bobby told me if I'm reading this wrong, but I see this like as another gold rush type
It is.
opportunity just to get in there because do you think like the people who come in early will be, lock in their spots? I know you got to keep feeding the beast, keep feeding the reviews, but like is that the advantage that we're talking about here? Because like
It
in
is.
let's be honest, like in 12 to 18 months, like if you guys are serious about your business, you're going to probably do something like this. Like you don't really have an option unless you don't like being found or you're allergic to money. Um, so like, you know what I mean? Like it's just obvious. So like, is that what we're talking about here? Is like the opportunity get in first because it's going to be that much easier? Because if we know what happened with Google, like remember the organic rankings. You know what's funny is like in 2012, I got into SEO and I started, no, maybe it's 2013-ish, 14. But anyways, I got into SEO and I started doing all the traditional keyword searches. And I was ranking when
Yep.
I was an agent in Chicago. I was ranking next to realtor.com, homes.com for homes for sale in Bucktown, Chicago. Literally just by me writing, little old me writing a post ranking because I was just following the SEO practice off a
Right.
course I took. And I had my little site ranking on all of these different things. And then I stopped feeding it. And I don't know what happened to my site. I don't even remember. But my point being is that I tried to do that 5, 6 years later. There's not even a chance I was coming close on page one of like
Yeah.
Google or Zillow. Oh, Zillow, truly all they had all the listings, right? So is that what we're talking about here? Like, do you
I
think
I think
what do you
so.
think? Like, because
Yeah, I mean the cool thing is, Google Business Profile has been around for 15 years, right? But it's still like we're in a rush now. I like how you said it. We're in a gold rush with the agentic search, right? We're in the fourth industrial revolution.
yeah,
And it's changing the game, especially for local search. Because I can promise you, all that you and I do every single day is talk to, very niche specific operators of their business. I can assuredly tell you that unless you and I are doing our podcasts and doing our webinars, okay, people don't know this stuff. And so, and the actual stat is for real estate specific, 93% of all real estate professionals don't have an optimized online presence, not just Google, but they don't do anything with Facebook, YouTube, Instagram,
they don't do
Google,
anything.
LinkedIn. 93%. So, to answer your question, is there an opportunity? Is this a gold rush? Hell yeah. Like, pay attention to this stuff. And I don't care if you're, referral based or not. Okay. Anything can go away quickly. So you've got to make sure that you can at least be found and or verified when that referral does find you. So is it too late? Nope, absolutely not. Start paying attention to it now. This is the way, Mike, I look at it really honestly, is like 2005, like really when I mean the internet had already been around obviously for 10, years, but 2005 when Google blew up and people like you were focusing on early SEO practices, right? That is what's happening now with the Gentic search. So if you are not doing the things that we just talked about today so that you can be found, you're basically you're going to be competing with all these people that are specializing in it now and focusing on it so that in 2, 3, 4 years or hell 6 months maybe you're going to be invisible. So you've
Yep.
got to be focusing on this stuff now because most of the people, it's hyper local. You're not a national brand, right? It's tougher for national brands. It's tough for me, right? Like we're trying to capture 160 markets. That's tough when it comes to SEO, right?
Yep.
But when it comes to hyper local real estate
Yeah.
agents, attorneys' offices, you have such an advantage that if you pay attention to this now and make everything you do about hyper local content in all of your reviews and all of your posts and all of your videos, you cannot help but win. And someday we can all also talk about websites too, because it's still important.
I like it, man. Appreciate all your insight, folks. We appreciate you listening to another episode of Your Marketing Dude. Folks, if you're not sure what we do here, we create content. We put you in front of the people, mainly your database, and we keep you top of mind so they stop forgetting you exist. Because, like Bobby just said, there's two ways that you're going to generate business. One, for off the people you already know, referrals, repeat business. That's always going to be true, I believe, in real estate. But two is going to be, well, how do you attract outside business? This is just another way. If you don't like door knocking, cold calling, or doing all the sleazy stuff that we all hate doing so much, which is why you're listening to this podcast. So make sure you come and check out his stuff. Bobby, why don't you tell them where they could find you? I like what you say. I back all of it. So why don't you tell them how they can learn more? Um, Maybe enlist
Thanks, man.
you, hire you, pick your brain, attend your training, read your blogs. Tell them where they could go.
Yeah, the best place is to go to our website, locatemybusiness.com. For the people that are listening, it's LOC8, locatemybusiness.com. You can schedule time with me on my calendar there. You can watch a ton of videos, kind of how-tos, basically, if you're a DIYer. There's a lot of opportunities there. Download a ton of free resources. We're everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, all the places you can find it. And then you can personally find my personal content as well across all the same platforms. You can usually find me at Bobby Kerr, Kerr.
Love it, dude. Really good stuff. And thank you guys for listening to another episode. If you have any questions, visit Bobby. If you want to come visit us, check out the content on our site, yourmarketingdude.com. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.